Fallen Comrades is episode 7 of Beast Wars, and it begins with a look at one of those pods ejected from the Maximal ship at the beginning of the series. Since the two sides are evenly matched, this is going to alter the balance of power, and for whichever side gets there first, since the Predacons could always reprogram the helpless occupant to then be on their side. The fastest way to get there, naturally, is to fly, but there are two Predacons that can do that and only one Maximal, Optimus Primal himself. So Megatron plans to ambush him. But that's the obvious move, which is why the others are telling Optimus to be careful, and Dinobot in fact insisting that he go out first to make sure that at least this area is safe. Which it turns out to be. But that's still not good enough for Dinobot. He knows Megatron is up to something, and he wants to do some scouting, but Optimus Prime has been getting more and more impatient, and he doesn't want to waste any more time. There's such a thing as being too cautious.
We have to...
It's just that this isn't one of those times. After a couple of more shots, Optimus is down for the count, but Dinobot gets in a shot of his own to give a friendly greeting to Waspinator. Sadly, that really is the friendliest greeting Waspinator's ever had. Terrorsaur drags his sorry ass back, but we'll have to do something about what happened to Optimus.
Fear not, Optimus. I shall ensure that your funeral is a glorious one, as befits a warrior who died in battle.
I actually meant to prevent that from being necessary, but don't let me get in the way of your plans. While they drag Optimus' sorry ass inside, Waspinator and Terrorsaur are basking in their rare moment of accomplishing something, and they'll be following that up by heading to the stasis pod, almost certainly getting there first since the rest will be proceeding on foot, and Megatron plans to have the rest of his team assault whatever thin defenses have been left at the Maximal base. A solid 1-2 punch, and it's not good to get punched by a fist that's also a dinosaur head. But despite the speed that flying allows, the Maximals have had a head start, so the two groups eventually meet up and start shooting at each other since... Well, what else are they supposed to do? Send each other strongly worded letters? I'm not even sure half these guys can read. During the fighting, the Predacons take out the ice bridge. Naturally a setback for the good guys, but proof that our infrastructure really does need some upgrades. So with them needing to waste time looking for another way across, the Predacons have an advantage. So Rat Trap calls the base to fill them in. But of course the only one on hand to answer is Dinobot, who was also recovering from the battle. He's not as badly hurt as Optimus is, but he does need some repairs. But Optimus needs to go inside the tank to undergo serious rebuilding. But Dinobot knows that if he leaves it in the hands of Rat Trap and Cheetor, this mission is as good as screwed already. So he has the computer tap into Optimus Primal's consciousness so he can fill their leader in on what's happening. Optimus thinks that sending a message to the pod could make the difference. The problem is those energon fields that interfere with communication, remember. And a laser pulse can't reach anything beyond the horizon because a laser is line of sight, obviously. But they could bounce it off the moon to get around that. And even if it doesn't work, at the very least, they've shot a laser at the moon. That's a reward in and of itself. Of course, Megatron is outside with his troops preparing for that attack, while Dinobot is adjusting the dish. So Megatron offers Dinobot the chance to come back to their side, and together they can easily wipe out the base. Then it's just a matter of mopping up the trio up in the Arctic. Then there's nothing stopping them from taking over the entire galaxy, not with all the energon that they can harvest here. It sounds like a good plan, especially if you're evil. But we all know that this is a massive lie. Megatron had been talking with the others before in order to make that clear to the audience. And Dinobot knows his old leader well enough to know that he's lying, and opts for option 2, shoot him in the face. Only the speech was a distraction to allow the other two to get behind Dinobot and shoot him in the back. Seems Dinobot's the only one on their side who's ever had a sense of honor. But he's not above switching the base defenses on, which has auto-targeting laser cannons. So with only 3 targets to have to worry about, it's not long before the Predacons are driven off. Megatron decides to salvage the situation by heading to the pod personally, but with the dish in position, Optimus can send the signal to the pod first, and then once he's healed, fly up there personally for the big climax. I mean, you know it's got to be coming with everybody converging there. Megatron gives the sadistic choice to the trio at the pod. Let them take it, or he'll murder these 2 snow leopards. Yes, Megatron's plot really is, stop or I'll murder this kitten. Grudgingly, they stand down, but it's a hollow victory for Megatron because the pod is empty. One of the snow leopards is in fact a Maximal, Tigertron. With him catching them off guard, the other Maximals are free to attack as well, and the Predacons are sent scurrying off. But it seems that Tigertron's identity circuits were damaged. That's why it took as long as it did for him to even get involved in the fight, to realize which side he was on. And he wants to stay here for the time being.
I feel my place is here, in the wilds, with my kind.
Did they really have to pose that one in the mount me position there? Makes it look like Tigertron is staying here just so he can get a piece.
Before getting into a look back at the episode, yes, I do have to correct that I was mistaken. And you might say, well, it was pretty obvious, wasn't it? His name is Tigertron. He must be a tiger. Yeah, I get that argument. Just in my defense, white tigers are A, extremely rare, and B, don't live where it's snowy. On account of they're not adapted to that environment, they're mutant freaks, primarily perpetuated by inbreeding, rather than actually emerging to adapt to their environment like these happen to be. I originally assumed they were snow leopards, which are actually rather whitish and blend into the snowy environment. So yes, I was wrong, but it's kind of like being wrong suggesting that the one driving a taxi through New York is not, in fact, a chimpanzee. Getting to Fallen Comrades as an episode, though, it's the first one showing them expanding beyond the original 10 characters, easing them back in so that each one is a chance for a proper introduction. This was an enjoyable outing, showing a great deal of cunning on both sides, turning it into a race and a sort of chess game. Seeing the sense of loyalty that Dinobot clearly now has for Optimus Primal shows how the relationships are developing as well, and the use of the laser beam off of the moon a sign that Dinobot has brains as well as brawn, while at the same time Optimus clearly has the leadership skills to make such an idea possible. Likewise, Megatron is proven to be a competent enemy, someone all the more dangerous because of his intelligence. All in all, this was a good episode.
All hail the Overlord! All hail the Overlord!
Afraid I'll have to miss it, Dinobot. I'm not scrap yet.
Are you certain it would be a triumphant passage?